want to share everything, all of me with you all tonight. And so a big piece of training your brain for success is learning how to breathe, right? And so before we go in and talk about anything about mindset, what I like to do is I like to make sure that my mind is programmed for success, right? And to learn, right? Because if our mind is not right, again, it's hard for us to do it, right? And so what I want to do is I want to take us through, and yeah, what I want to do is I want to take us through a breathing exercise. Is everybody okay with that? If you're okay with that, put one in the chat. If I get more than 5 ones, then I'm gonna go through with this breathing exercise. Tiana, can you let me know how the chat looks with this? Because I want to take us. I want to do this breathing exercise.
Dana is on board. I've on us. We have 3 so far. If it was Dana alone,
I just need 5.
Yeah, we could do the breathing exercise.
Proceed.
Yes.
All right. And again, the reason why we do this breathing exercise is because, again, if you want to free your mind of anxiety, if you want to free your mind of worrying about what you're going to have for dinner and your kids and all that other stuff, you can stress. You can do this at any point in your day, right? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to communicate it to you all and just sit wherever you are and do it, right? And here's how it works. We're going to do a count of 5, right? And we're just going to do 4 breaths of this. We're going to do inhale to the count of 5. And we're going to exhale to the count of 5. Everybody got that? And we're going to do it 4 times. Okay? Y'all ready? All right. So again, you just breathe in to count of 5. So that's we exhale. Got it? That's 1 round. We're going to do this 4 times. Okay? The perfect way to do it. Just try your best, right? Again, count of 5. Exhale. 5. So let your breath go slow. All right, we got 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Exhale. All right. Now, you should feel better, right? You should, if you had anything that was stressing you out, it shouldn't be there anymore, right? That's scientifically proven that when you take 4 breaths like that, that removes anxiety from your system, right? It allows you to be more present, allow you to be able to focus on what you have in front of you, right? So the next time you feel anxious or stressed or anything like that, just try that little technique. The longer you go, the better it is. But if you do that alone, that should rid you of any anxiety or stress and stuff like that, and allows your brain to be ready to learn, right? And so that's just a little exercise I wanted to start with, right? And so now your brains are strong and ready to learn. Now, let's get to the mindset stuff, right? When it comes to mindset, right, in any of these type of workshops, you always have the skeptic, the person that's fed up, the person that's already rich, right? And so the one thing I want you to do is just identify where you are on this. There's no right or wrong, right? A person that's the skeptic mind is always questioning things to the person or blaming other people for where they are. We all been there, right? Another person, the skeptic then grows to the person that's fed up. The fed up person is on this call and they're like, if you're that person, you're like, you know what? You know, it's November. I'm sick of being where I'm at. It's time for me to make a change, right? And so you're like, you know, no excuses. Whatever I need to do because I'm trying to retire. I'm trying to, you know, go on that vacation. I'm trying to move into that new house. I'm trying to, you know, I'm just sick of my boss. I need to do what's right, right? That's perfect. Then you have the person who already has a lot going on, right? But you come to all these seminars because that's just who you are. That's in your nature, right? You want all the information, no matter who's giving it. You're like, let me find some little detail and let me execute on the detail, right? That's the person. Laura was one of those people for us as a team. Laura would reach our team all the time, right? My team would be like, Miss Laura, wants this, Miss Laura, and it was cool with us because she was always seeking information. But now she's retired at 57, right? And that's what happens when you are that person who asks questions, right? And so just put it out there, like these are the three mindsets. None of them are right or wrong. It just is what it is, right? The key is you have the ability to choose where you want to be, right? And so and it's nobody's fault but your own, right? You choose where you want to be when it comes to your mindset, right? And so the reality is everybody on this call probably wants to be this person that's overlooking a cruise ship balcony, living their best life in retirement, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this call. But the thing that's going to make the difference is the mindset, right? And so that's why we're going to address that. Now, again, I'm the type of guy, I go deep into this mindset stuff, right? And so I'm going to teach you all the process that I use to help me level set my mind, right? And it's called the map of consciousness levels, right? Consciousness to me is just where I'm at as far as my emotional level, right? And again, I'm teaching this stuff because I've seen this stuff work for people who are retired well and don't look back, right? And so can y'all see this chart? There's a lot of colors, but I'm gonna break it down.
It's very clear. It's very clear.
Okay, cool. And so there's emotions that are below the line, and then there's emotions that are above the line, right? And the emotions that are below this black line are typically emotions that have you really in a constricted place, right? And when you're living in a constricted place, it's hard to be stress-free, right? Right? It's hard to enjoy life. It's hard to make deposits into yourself because you're so concerned that you might lose something, or you're just in a place where you're complaining. You're just in a place where you're like life is happening to me. I'm not affecting my life, if that makes sense, right? And so oftentimes I get on the phone with people and they're like, man, I just can't stand my boss, or I hate my job, or I don't have enough money to retire, as if it's somebody else's fault, right? And so and so what I want to make clear in this is once you're able to change the way you look at yourself and your circumstances and begin to rise above the black line, and this black line is more so an expansive, a creative energy, right? When you create, because my goal for you all on this call is for you to be able to create your ideal life, right? And I'm here to tell you, there's no amount of money that's too little or too much in your TSP, right? Or your retirement. You still can create the ideal life. You are starting from where you are, right? And so I say that to say the thing you have to do is you just have to start to change the way in which you're looking at your circumstances and then begin to create where you want to go. And so the emotion that starts the creative process is the emotion of courage, right? And so it took courage for you to hop on this call, right? And the reason why courage is important is because it's the beginning of an exciting life, right? The key now is after you taken this courageous act, do you go back into fear? Do you go back into grief? Do you go back into guilt? You're guilting yourself, right? About, oh, well, I raised my kids and now, nobody's doing it for me, or all these different stories that you make up, right? Now that you're at this courageous point, which is joining the call like this, joining the challenge like this, now you have the opportunity to expand, right? And so the higher vibrational thoughts and emotions are things like, I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to grow. I accept myself for where I am, right? I love myself enough to take the proper actions. I love myself enough to choose me, right? I love myself enough to have faith that God is going to work it out for me, right? And so once you're in that space, miracles happen, right? And I see it, and I'm telling you this from a place of, I sit every week and I'm talking to client after client after client after client. And the only difference for people is how they view their circumstances, you know? And so the whole goal of me sharing this with you all is because I want you to understand that once you have that level of courage to see where you want to go in life and to no longer play, you know, play small, for lack of better words, the world is your oyster, you know what I mean? And so my goal is to give you a framework that I use, and I've seen other people use as well, that can help you to go towards those expansive places in your life because you deserve it. You're the person, you put in 20, 30, 40 years with the federal government. You deserve to live your ideal retirement. Because here's the thing. Most people that are not in y'all shoes, their retirement isn't great. I'm right. We get people that come in and they're like, look, Mr. Smith, I'm not a federal employee, but can you help me out with my retirement? And I'm like, okay, cool. What's up? What you got? And all they got is a pension. I mean, not a pension. All they have is a 401k that they barely put money into, and they got Social Security. You all have 3 paychecks that you can receive in retirement. So you're already ahead of the curve. The key, though, is making sure you do the right things and then make sure you have the right mindset where you're starting to think in creative ways in which you can create the life that you want to live. Right. And so I'll share this in the Facebook group for people, but this is what you want to be thinking about as we go through this challenge around how can I create the ideal life that I want, right? That's what I want you to be thinking about, right? Because my thing is, people ask me all the time, they're like, Mr. Smith, well, how much should I have in my TSP? That is a relative question. I know people with, 2 million in their TSP and they got crazy debt. They're not happy. They just got stuff going on, right? And they're not free, right? They got all these people that know they have the money, so they feel all confused around what they need to do. There's no peace of mind, right? I know people with the 100, 200,000 in their TSP that are living the best, 100, 200,000 in TSP and sometimes below, they're living the best retirement because they had a plan. They paid off their house way in advance, and I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, anything, but I'm just saying every situation is different. So I'm challenging you to look at your situation different and finding a way to create the life you want to live. And so I got people that don't have nowhere near $1 million in their TSP who are living amazing lives because they chose to get creative, right? And so look at yourself from a place above the line, from a courageous place, and allow faith to take over and use your brain to say, you know what? I always wanted to start this part-time. I have a client right now. She retired at 58 and she retired. She always had this, she was selling that bling. What's that bling business? And they sell that bling stuff. I can't think of it. It starts with the P's. A bunch of people that sell it.
Paparazzi.
There you go. She's selling paparazzi. She was selling that and some other stuff, but she started taking that serious. But then it grew to another business that she now has. And now she was like, the other day I was talking to her, she's making $3,100 a month on this side business, And so it's just like the things happen when you get creative. I have another client. He was with DOD. He wanted to retire early. He was like, Mr. I don't care what's going on. I'm retired. He retired, living in DC, moved down to Georgia, does some contract work for the local police department. They paying him a bunch of money. It's just once you set yourself mind up to say, hey, I'm not going to work no more. I'm going to figure out a way to make this happen. Things happen, but you have to make the choice. And so that's why no matter what I teach you about TSP, no matter what I teach you about the FERS pension, all that other stuff, none of that stuff matters if you don't come into it with the mindset that I'm going to create my ideal life. So that's that, right? And then what I like to call them the wonder questions, right? Because when you get your mind to wondering, it allows you to then think of the possibilities, which takes you out of a place of scarcity, which is, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, this might not work for me, right? But when you start to put your brain to work, you'll be amazed with what your brain can come up with. And so another thing, a lot of times people are working year after year, and then when they retire, based on all the things coming out of their check, when they retire, they only losing $200 or $300, right? you know, and you're working all this time doing all that work. Now, before you were going into work every day, all the traffic. Now it's just opening and closing your laptop for most people. So it's not as much stress, but it's still you not doing what you want to do all the time, right? And so I know we mentioned that we'll have homework. And if you haven't joined the Facebook group, please join it because I want you all to post the answer to these questions in the group, in the Facebook group, not in here. But I want you to think about it, right? And we'll post these questions again in there for you to answer. But I call these the wonder questions, right? Because you have to start seeing yourself the way you want to see yourself and start critically thinking about where you're going, right? Because again, like we don't know when we're leaving this earth. We don't know, you know. Got a call this morning, my friend of mine, you know, him and his wife celebrating the anniversary in South Africa, and his mom died suddenly, and they got to fly back early, right before Thanksgiving, right? And so, and she was in her, you know, 60s, you know, early 60s, and so you just never know what's going to happen, and so you want to make sure you think about the type of lifestyle you want to live, and then think about how you can create it. You know, and if anybody knows me that works with me, I'm always talking about how can we create your lifestyle. We talking one-on-one because I'm big on that. So here's the questions, right? Visualize it first. What's your ideal income in retirement? Right? Simple. And that don't have to be where it is between FERS, TSP, and SSI. But like, think about it. What's your ideal income in retirement, right? You know, what side projects can you help to get yourself there, right? You know, what's your ideal income in retirement? And we're gonna post. I want y'all to post this in the Facebook group, so we can talk about it together and help each other build on these dreams. Right? What do you want to experience? What is a place? What place do you? Oh man, I messed this sentence up bad. What place do you want to spend 2 weeks? What is the place you want to spend 2 weeks? Right? And so, you know, for me, I went to Nigeria for 2 weeks earlier this year, right? That was a big trip for me because I really wanted to get in touch with the motherland, right? And so, what place do you want to spend 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks is a big chunk of time, right? Because most people can go a place for a week and not trip, right? That's not a stretch. You went on a 7-day vacation. Okay, cool. That's great. No knock on that. But where do you want to spend 2 weeks though? Right? That's when you really are challenging your lifestyle. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's taking you out of your comfort zone, but it's also giving you an experience in life that you would never forget. Imagine spending 2 weeks in a foreign country or in a place that you never been to. We took our kids this summer. And again, my fiance is challenging me on this stuff. She's like, let's spend, a month in Mexico City with the kids. We went to Mexico City last year for a trip for her job, and we loved it, right? But we took the kids, rented a house because we're able to work remote, and the kids loved it, But just think about for yourself again, and that's me expanding my level. I've never been someplace for a whole month, and so where do you want to go and spend 2 weeks, right? So just think about that. And it could be anywhere. Like, don't think about cost. Don't think about who needs you. Don't think about any of that stuff. Where do you want to go and spend 2 weeks of your life, right? Because I'm telling you, it'll be life-changing, right? The next question is, how do you want to be remembered by your family, right? How do you want to be remembered? You want to be remembered as the person that, dad was always at work. You want to be remembered as, grandma, like, man, she taught us this, she taught us this, she took us here, like, how do you want to be remembered, right? Do you want people to remember you like always working, or the person that was able to experience a lot of present time with your kids and your grandkids, undistracted time?
Hey, Will, you're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you. You're muted. Will, you're muted. We can't hear you. Your mic is going on.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So how do you want to be remembered, right? And again, I call these the 3 wonder questions because these questions get you to thinking about, you know, your mindset and get you into that creative mindset. And so again, I'm gonna put these in the group in the chat. I mean, in the group, but I want you to think about these and answer them in the Facebook group. Now, here are the 4 steps to getting your mind right. Right. 1, you want to make sure you set your goals. Right. Make sure you do that. Next, you want to visualize yourself in this place. So if your goal is to be a world traveler, if your goal is to be the most amazing grandma ever, the most amazing granddad ever, if you want to be the most amazing nonprofit leader, if you want to be the most amazing church member, whatever it is, if you want to be, if you want to be your ideal weight, whatever it is, set that goal, right? Then you visualize it, right? Because you got to, if you don't see yourself in that new place, you won't take the necessary action steps to get there. And then the next thing you want to do is take action, walk towards it. And the next thing you do is you just enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I say enjoy it, and it's like one of those things like, duh, like once you reach your goals, you enjoy it. But you know what I mean? People I meet, they'll accomplish something amazing, and they're just like, yeah, I did that, but now I got to try to do this other thing. And then there's all this new stress, right? Nah, like take some time and be like, you know what? I just retired. Shit, I'm out. Like I'm gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking a month and we going somewhere, right? And I always tell my clients, I'm like, look, you didn't put up all this money into your TSP. You didn't work all this time. Spend some money on yourself, and enjoy it. Because when you enjoy it, again, it goes back to what I was showing earlier with those levels of consciousness. When you enjoy it, you put yourself in a better mood, right? And when you're in a better mood, you attract people that are like-minded. Y'all have a lot of fun. And then, the money just come back, right? or the joy is there, And so key, when you set your goals, visualize your goals, take action towards your goals, and then enjoy it, most importantly, that's a good life, right? Life is meant to be enjoyed, right? And so that's what I got for y'all today. What I want to do now is I want to, and Tiana, help me with this. I want to introduce, and I'm gonna take questions at the end, but I brought in a special guest because y'all can hear me talk about this all day long, right? But I'm not really in y'all shoes like that. And so what I want to do is I want to bring in Laura Brown. She just retired September. What day was it?
September 29th.
Yeah, September 29th of 2023. She didn't even wait to December. She was just ready to go on her terms, which is key. She left on her terms, right? Yeah, she could have retired December 31st. Nah, she wanted to go when she wanted to go. And she was able to do that because she prepared for it, right? And that's key, right? And so I'm bringing Laura in. Laura retired from the VA. Just to give you a little background on us, we've been serving clients at the VA back from 2008 to around 2014. Our agents, we were in the VA building, headquarters 18 Vermont Avenue. We were in there all the time. Me and my team, we were nonstop in that building and the surrounding VA buildings for a while until we expanded and we started going out to HHS, and we just couldn't do the in-person stuff as much. But when we were there, Laura was what they call a hall orderer, right? And so Laura was just like the life energy of, I'm joking, she did a ton of great work, but Laura just brought a ton of energy to that VA building. But we would see each other all the time in passing when our team was up there, and we would never talk. She would see me, I'd be like, hey, you doing? She's like, no. And then one day we sat down and we created a plan, and it was almost like love at first sight. Like she was just like, man, I should have been talking to you. And ever since that day, Laura has been on me and my team about her retirement. She's been at every workshop we did. She's checking in. She's like, how's everything looking? How's this? I got a question about this. Nonstop. We talk to Laura at least once or twice a month for a lot of years, y'all. And it's okay though, because Laura's pleasant. She always bringing positive vibes. She executes, most importantly, on the things that we talk about. And so Laura just retired. And not only before Laura retired, because she set it up perfectly, Laura has moved out of the DMV, living her best life in North Carolina, volunteering in the community, getting ready to take a trip to Japan, And so I brought Laura on because I want to just ask her questions about, because she's always had the mindset. And I'm like, Laura, you got the right mindset. You got the right mindset. So I brought her on because I want her to expound upon a bit around, how she got that mindset. Well, let's just start there. Laura, well, one, thank you for coming out. Appreciate you.
Thank you for asking, man. I love being here.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Laura, so what challenges did you have at first around, or if you ever had challenges around your mindset and preparing for retirement? Did you, anything around that? Like, what would you like to share around your retirement journey?
First I want to say thanks for inviting me, first of
Yeah.
all. And I see you have 22 participants online. This is a big bunch for 7:00 at night. My first thing, I just took down a few notes just to get my mind right, to make sure I'm speaking current. Working for the federal government for 38 years, my goal at one point was to do 40 years. That was, I said, I'm going to do 40 years because most people say you need to do 40 years and 11 months and sitting around listening to other people. But at some point in my life, meeting you about 10 and a half years ago, when we first sat down and we started talking about Fagley, and you asked me about what do you have in Fagley? And I said, oh, typical federal employee. I have 5 times my salary. You said, why? And that kind of started my wheels turning. And from that point on, we went from Fagley to private insurance, from private insurance to TSP, and the rest is history. But I started thinking about, one, why am I here? What is my future going to look like? At that time, I was 45 years old.
Wow.
Exactly. Then I started attending, and most of us do this. Well, I started attending the retirement seminars just to figure out, like, what is my retirement going to look like when I turn 55, to find out later, oh no, the rules have changed. Now you can't go at 55. You have to go at 56 and 4 months. CSRS used to be 55. Now your FERS, you have to go at 56 and 4 months. So now I'm like, another year and some change. Long story short, just working with you and your team, and I want to stress that to everyone, you and your team helped me visualize what Laura's future was going to look like. And that started at 45 years of age, and now I'm 57, retired exactly 40 something days now. But just thinking about, or getting my thoughts together, and you and your team helped me do that, with preparing from day one, from decreasing my Fagley, increasing my TSP as I got raises every year. Instead of me putting the money in my bank account or spending it, I started adding to my TSP from 5% to 7% to 9% to 10%. And as time moved on, I never missed the money. And you helped me streamline a lot of that process. From that point on, about 5 years ago, I started thinking about, do I want to stay in Washington, D.C., in the DMV, or do I want to do something else? Well, my husband had something to do with that too. Well, we figured in North Carolina, money could go longer than staying around the DMV. So we purchased a home in the state of North Carolina almost 4 years ago. And we would come down once a month, bringing things from Maryland to North Carolina, from Maryland to North Carolina. It was a long process, but we eventually got all of our items out of our home in Fort Washington down to the state of North Carolina. And from that point on, I love real estate. So I started looking at checking out what was around me. And at that time, about 2.5 years ago, I purchased additional properties down in the state of North Carolina. Still had my home in Washington, D.C., in Fort Washington. We had a home in North Carolina. I purchased 2 more homes that I now use those as rental properties, and I have people renting those properties from me. So at one point we had 4 houses. That was a little challenging trying to work, maintain 4 houses, and still prepare for retirement. Long story short, after the market blew up, we decided to sell our home in Fort Washington 2 years ago. And we capitalized on that because we bought that house 21 years ago as a foreclosure. And so if anybody knows, the real estate in the state of Maryland is really going top heavy at this point. So we made a big chunk of money off our home in Fort Washington. And I was able to do a lot with those proceeds. Moving forward, I think God just spoke to me at some point and said, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Will and his team have helped you to capitalize on my assets, my TSP, to structure that. And what was missing was whatever I wanted to do. And so I talked to Will a few months ago, and I said, I think I'm going to retire. And I gave him some months, and I kept changing my mind. I kept changing my mind. It went from January to March to June. And then I said, September the 29th, that's it, the end of the fiscal year, I'm going to retire. So I retired September the 29th, and my team, I work for the VA, and I'm on a small team. It's only 6 of us. My team, and I'm probably one of the younger ones. My team was like, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll travel. I'll do whatever. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life." So I retired September the 29th. I started doing some things around here in North Carolina, and I actually picked up. I have no children at this time, but I actually picked up my sister's granddaughter. So now I'm a Girl Scout trooper. Girl Scout trooper. I'm the back to school person, taking her to back to school, and did that tonight. And whatever else, she's 8 years old, whatever else she wants to do. So I picked up that, and here lately now I'm volunteering, doing some things in the community with helping. Yesterday I went out and dedicated my time with helping a young lady who has 5 kids and one on the way. She's 31 years of age, but I spent a lot of time picking up items to donate to her and her family who's moving into their home this weekend. So it's like every day is something new for me, and I enjoy it. When I wake up in the morning, it's like, what do Laura want to do today? And I will share this. A couple of days ago, I decided that I've never been overseas. So me and my husband are taking a 2-week trip to Tokyo in the next few months, and I'm planning all of that out, and never been overseas. So this is going to be very interesting. Will, you got me thinking now, maybe 2 weeks, maybe we need to spend a month over there. Who knows, right?
Well, hold on, Laura. So like, and I'm gonna ask Laura this question, because Laura, which is cool about this is, a lot of this was created. Laura she's saying all this, but Laura created this stuff. Like this, like even the move to North Carolina. I remember when she was thinking about it. Then she did it, but then her family came down. Now her family lives near her. She created the lifestyle that she wanted by an idea. Right? At first, it wasn't about moving out of Maryland. Then her husband moved to North Carolina. Then all of a sudden, now she has her community is down there. She then goes and buys real estate down there, and so then she sold the house, right? And so after all of that, so it's not like she used the money from the house to do all this. She did it after, but it all started with an idea. And now all these other things are blossoming for her. And that's why I bought Laura on, because I know quite a few of you all on the call. And all of y'all have similar starting points that Laura started at. Laura just took the leap, and she had the vision for how she wanted to experience her life. And then all these other things blossomed up around Laura through that process, right?
Absolutely.
And that's one thing, like I said, I give you a lot of credit for, Laura, is you've always been hungry for information. And once you get it, you execute on it. and you also think big about your life, and you just take things so lightly, which is great too, because you just attract good things. And
Right.
so, really quick, I want to make sure we open up the conversation for questions because we got about 10 minutes. I don't want to keep y'all longer than necessary. And do we have, is there any, I know tonight we didn't talk anything about TSP. We didn't talk nothing about Faculty Tech. We'll talk about all that stuff tomorrow. But tonight, I just wanted to talk about, you know, your mindset. So does anybody have any questions for me or Laura that they want to ask? Let me look. Are there any questions in the chat?
None so far.
Or any comments? Any questions or comments? All right. So there's no,
Will, the session you say there's a session tomorrow?
yeah, tomorrow's session is at 7. We'll go into details around TSP. I mean, well, tomorrow we'll be talking about the first pension and SSI.
Okay.
But I wanted to just open it up for any questions or comments.
Quick question, Will, for the session tomorrow, would they need their laptops?
No. Well, yeah, not necessarily, but what I do want you all to have tomorrow, that's a great question, Tiana. Thanks for teeing that up. If tomorrow you can bring, just bring a copy of your latest LES statement, because I'll be asking you questions. We'll provide the websites I'm gonna want you to go to during the chat, because tomorrow will be more so a working session, because I'm gonna be teaching you all how to run your own numbers. And then I'll also, what we'll do tomorrow is I'll show you how we build out a financial plan for people so that you can see how that works. Because it's good to be able to see how a financial plan works, because most people haven't seen one before. So I want to make sure that you see how those work, because again, a big piece of having peace of mind in retirement is knowing what's going to happen with your money, right? If you have any, guests, things like that, it's tough to have peace of mind. And so, I'm not trying to hype y'all up and then you not have a plan. You got to have the positive creative emotions, but then you also have to have a plan. So this isn't like some empty calories, right? So, but you got to first start with the plan. And so, Sherry has a question. Sherry, Tiana, can you unmute Sherry so she can ask her a question? Or Sherry, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon.
Hey, you muted yourself.
Hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yes. Thanks for the information. And I'm really glad to have our special guest on, because I'm one of those people I can't really kind of decide with 33 years. I'm just like, well, do I go now? Do I go later? So good. I guess a lot of people are like that. But when did you say you're going to cover the FEGLI? Because I'm really kind of confused about the FEGLI. Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll cover it tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, I really am enjoying, and I've been on a few of your sessions, and so I just want to say thanks for you guys doing this.
No problem. Thanks, Sherry, a bunch. And again, before we leave, I mean, y'all don't have any questions for Laura around her retirement? She retired at 57. Y'all got no questions for a 57-year-old retiree that got a big smile that's about to spend? That's crazy to me. But okay, Sean.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Okay, hey, I'm very, very happy to participate in this, man. You guys are a wealth of knowledge, and I thank you. Thank you for it. Tomorrow, I manage a Bible study devotional online at 7, and I'm recording this. Will you be redoing this entire session where I can actually participate and run my numbers? Because I kind of committed to that thing tomorrow, and you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. So we'll record it, but Sean, Tiana, if you could direct message Sean, and then Sean, we could just set up a one-on-one call and go through it. That's fine.
Sure.
That'll work for me. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. We got about 5 more minutes. Does anybody have any other questions? And then if you haven't joined the Facebook group, please join it. We're gonna put those questions in the Facebook group. If you can answer them in the group, I know it's a private group, but these are your peers in this moment, right? These people are of the like mind of you. Those wonder questions are key because again, we want to make sure that the work we're doing when it comes to what you want to see happen with your faculty, your TSP, all that stuff is cool, but you want to tie it to a bigger vision so that you are able to execute on that stuff, and it feels good. So, Sean, I don't know if you have another question, but I'm gonna let you ask. But Kim has a question.
I just
yeah.
want to say hi. I just want to
Yeah.
say I'll also be unavailable tomorrow
Okay.
due to a prior commitment. Just wondered if I could get one-on-one also, just to go over kind of my TSP.
Okay. Yeah. Tiana, can you reach out to Kim?
No problem.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Sean again. Can you hear me?
What's up? Yeah, Sean, what's up, bro?
Yeah, please provide me the Facebook group so I can join. I don't know if I missed that or not.
Oh, okay. Tiana, can you send that to him and just post it? I'll post it in one more time. I'll post that in here. There it is. I just posted it. Hold up. Somebody. So who is this? This is Tanya says, "Oh, I'm contemplating in North Carolina, which is my hometown." What part of North Carolina are you in, Laura?
I'm in Kinston, Kinston. It's about 20 minutes past Goldsboro. If anybody familiar with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, I'm about 20 minutes from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base.
And the cost of living is great.
Cost of living is perfect.
That
Who's asking a question about North Carolina?
was Tanya.
What part of North Carolina, Tanya? Tanya,
I'm from Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
You're only
Right after 95.
Absolutely. That's about 50 minutes, give or take. I come through Rocky Mount to get to here.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Actually,
So-
my husband is from Wilson.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's close by. Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was thinking of moving in the Raleigh area, but that area is so expensive now. So, and
So-
Apex and Garden and all those small towns are really expensive. So,
Well,
but I hadn't thought about down the way where you are.
I wanted to move to Raleigh, but after he told me about the traffic is the same as being in DC, we moved to a place where there's no traffic. When I say no traffic, I can get from here across town in about 5 minutes. That's
Oh,
that's
wow.
going to the other side of town. But when I want to go out and I guess hang out, for a better word, is I go to Goldsboro, or I can go to Jacksonville or New Bern, Greenville.
Oh wow.
Nice.
That's
So just
all
think
right.
about it. If you're thinking about Raleigh, it's a lot of traffic in Raleigh.
Right, and I don't want to deal with that.
Right. You come to the
Mhm.
outskirts like Wilson or coming on down this way, you don't have to deal with any traffic. And the cost of living is still a little lower than Raleigh. Living out in the outskirts a little lower than Raleigh. Raleigh is 80 miles from me. I take my
Right.
BRT service to Raleigh.
So how did you prepare for when you got ready to retire, knowing that OPM was kind of like a backlog? And
So I didn't mention this. Will, I can share this. I have a
Go ahead. I ain't no rush.
I have a template that they gave me as part of my retirement package, and it tells you the process from the time that you retire, how long it takes before you get. I haven't gotten a full annuity check yet because it hasn't been 90 days. So what happens is from the first day of retirement for 30 days, you're gonna get your lump. They anticipate you having all of your annual leave. So if you have all your annual leave, they're going to pay you for that. You get paid that first, and then you have a lag about 2 to 3 weeks, and then you get an annuity check. And I have a template. Will, I'll share that with you that they sent me. Like I said, was part of my retirement package. So then I got a partial annuity check on October the 31st, which would have been for November the 1st. Now I got my congratulations letter came 2 weeks ago from OPM, saying congratulations, you're an interim payment status right now, how much that money was going to be. So I'll get another interim paycheck in December. And it's going to take anywhere from 90 to 120 days for full retirement. So one thing that I do want to share with the group is you have to have some type of savings to offset the shortage. And what I mean by that is, like, right now I'm in interim payments, so I'm only getting about 60% of my annuity. So again, I still have to maintain a certain lifestyle. That's just me. So thank God that I prepared for the shortage. And I said, well, if my bills is $100 and OPM is only giving me 60, I need to make up the $40 a month for the 3 months. So just be mindful of, you're going to have a shortage for the first couple of months. And then hopefully in January, my annuity, full annuity, will start sometime in January. Now, another thing for retirement to think about, and I lived this through my husband. He retired a year ahead of me. So when you look at what you're making, Will touched on this very briefly. When you look at what you're making every 2 weeks, and once you get your estimate from your agency, the difference in the money is not that much. And I say that because I know what I brought home every 2 weeks, and I know what I'm going to bring home once a month. With all of the taxes and insurances and things that come out your check, when you look at your annuity, you have what your base is, your taxes for wherever you live, your health insurance if you're not military and you're not going to use TRICARE, your health insurance, your dental, and your vision. Those are the 5 line items that's going to come out of your annuity. And if you look at your paycheck, all of those different line items is much greater than what's going to come out your annuity check. So after they ran my numbers and I looked at what I bought home every 2 weeks, so a 30-day bring home versus what my annuity, it wasn't that much. So that's just something for you to think about as you start preparing for retirement. I know we look at, well, I can't give up the every 2 week paycheck for once a month, but once you get your calculations, you're going to look at, well, it's not a really big difference because you don't have all those entries coming out of your paycheck every month. I hope I helped someone on the line with preparing for that.
No, those are huge things.
And I'll send you that template that they sent me from HR that shows the breakdown of from when you separate. One other thing I need to really share with the group that they don't tell
Go
you.
ahead.
HR, and I'm sorry, I should have been more prepared. HR explains some things to you, but they don't tell you everything. For example, I think I may have shared this with Will. When you separate your health insurance, your health, your dental, and your life insurance is delayed, it's behind. OPM is not paying for your dental, your health insurance, your vision, if you have that coming out your check. So what's going to happen is you're going to get behind in those 3 line items that you are required to have. If you know you want to go to the eye doctor or dentist or go with your health insurance, you have to pay those. So you have to call the Fed benefits, and you have to go online and pay for those line items. I just did that this month. HR never told me that you're going to have to pay those particular items when you retire, because OPM is not going to start paying those items until your annuity starts, which for me will be in January. So I'm going to have to pay November, December, and maybe potentially January. And that's for Blue Cross and Blue Shield dental and vision and health insurance.
Wow. How much you have to estimate to do that?
So if you look at your paycheck, what they take out every 2 weeks, multiplied times 2. So let me give you an example. My one is $43 a month, and that's the dental and vision. The other one is $21, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield is $173 a month. So they don't tell you that you need to maintain those because OPM is not paying them because you're in an interim status.
Wow.
Exactly.
Any other questions for Laura around this stuff? I mean, y'all got a person that retired at 57, man. You know, anything else? These are good questions though that were asked for sure. Or Laura, anything else you want to share?
TSP, just briefly, TSP contacted me, and I don't know if I shared this with you, Will, but TSP contacted me and said, you have to start taking some of your money. I had no idea what they were talking about. First, they sent me a letter saying I had 30 days to start withdrawing funds from my TSP account. And so I called them, and the young lady I was talking to said, yeah, you need to take at least $25. And I said, why is that? And she said, well, it's a recommendation. I said, nobody never told me that. So I said, I tell you what, I'll call you back in 30 days. It's been over 30 days. They can't force you to take any money out of your TSP. That's your money.
Yeah. So what TSP is trying to do with that, like they also have a contract with MetLife, where they like that little box on your TSP statement that's in the corner that shows you what your monthly income will be for the rest of your life. If you've seen that little box that has a dollar amount in there, right? For those that still look at their statements, what's being talked about there is they have their lifetime income annuity, but they're selling that, right? And so oftentimes TSP is trying to get you to go into that. You know, you don't really want to do that, because if you do that, one thing is going to happen. If you don't pay for the cash back option, then if you were to pass, then that money will go. That money won't go to your family unless you pay for the cash back option, right? And so when they tell you to start taking money out, oftentimes what I've experienced with clients is TSP is trying to drive you to take that, and you don't want to take that. It just doesn't make sense when you have a financial plan to be able to spread your money that thin and then run the risk of them being able to keep the rest of your money if something were to happen. And we could go into why that is on the TSP call on Saturday. But I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. There's another question. H. Thompson. I don't know who that is, but what other things they might forget? Is there anything else they might forget? Laura, other than the things you just mentioned?
Well, to me, that's very critical, your health insurance, because you want to maintain that. And like I said, you can go on FedBiz, you have to create a password. I log on, password, log into your account and pay it online yourself while you're in that interim status. So for those 3 months, just remember, you still need to pay your life insurance, your dental, your vision, and your health insurance while you're in that interim status, because OPM is not paying it.
Another question was, are taxes a big issue?
So in the state of North Carolina, out of my pension, North Carolina does not, if anybody going to relocate, when you retire, the only thing that's going to come out your check every month is federal taxes, because nobody knows where you're going to live. So they can't just take taxes out. For example, what if I would have stayed in Maryland and then all of a sudden I switched? Nobody would have known I switched to the state of North Carolina. So out of my pension, there will be no North Carolina taxes taken out of my pension. Now I can contact OPM. Now remember, OPM becomes your source of contact. So I can contact OPM and tell OPM to take out North Carolina taxes out of my pension. So I'll have to fill out a form for OPM to take those funds out of my annuity every month. But I haven't started getting my annuity, so I haven't started doing that just yet.
And we'll talk about taxes too on Saturday. But any other questions? All right. If not, make sure you just post your questions in the Facebook group. Again, I'll post that group again here. We'll send you a text with the Facebook group questions. But then again, tomorrow we'll go into the details, and so we'll send you a link on what to bring tomorrow. But again, this has been a great night. Laura, thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate you. You've been a wealth of knowledge.
No problem.
I'm sure you helped a lot of people tonight. And so really appreciate y'all. And everybody have a good night.
All right, Will, I'll send you that template.
Okay, please do.
All
Thanks.
right. Bye-bye. Everybody take care.
Thank you too.